Welcome to Tyrannosaurus Riffs. My name is Brandon, and today we're going to check out the Bolt-BTH-100. Alright, so you're probably wondering, who are Bolt amplifiers? This is a company that is no longer in business but was Utah-based. Sometime in the 2000s, a couple people left Digitech, we all know and love Digitech, and started XP Audio. XP Audio was the parent company of a handful of different companies, including Morpheus pedals. If you're old enough to remember those, they had the Morpheus Drop Tune, which is like a drop tune pitch shifter, but they also had the Morpheus Capo, which allowed you to pitch shift up. Now, Bolt Amplification was founded by John, Rick, and John. Everything I'm about to tell you is 100% true or 0% true. Finding information on this was actually extremely tough. I can't find very much online. So if you have any information to share with the class, please share that in the comments so we can all know what happened to this Utah-based company. They had two different amp models, the 100 watt and as well as a 50 watt. They also had a combo amp and 5 or 6 different cabinets. 1x12, two 2x12s, I believe, open back or close back, and then 4x12s, loaded with Celestion Vintage 30s, which we all know and love. While they created a 3-channel highly customizable amplifier, the faceplate was also customizable. While this one's black, you could also order it in gold, red, or silver. Now, while these came out in 2010, I believe they sizzled out in 2012 due to this being pretty boutique, but the economy at the time was also struggling. It was a very hard year for people to kind of figure things out, and I don't believe people had a lot of extra money to spend on a boutique amplifier they'd never heard of. Another problem that happened was one of the founders had passed away, and a struggling economy and one of your founders, it's probably hard to keep things going. Now, I did find some old information showing links to Premier Guitar. I also believe they were in Guitar World a couple of times with some different features, but I couldn't find those to be sure. I also feel like I remember seeing somewhere that Guar toured with these. I don't know how true that was. I tried to find out if it was for sure, but that's another thing I couldn't figure out. So now that I've given you a brief history on who Bolt amplifiers are, let's go over the specs, check this out in a quick mix, and then we'll get to the playthrough. This 100 watt amplifier features 4 6L6 power tubes and 2 12AX7 preamp tubes. Now, with a simple bias adjustment, you can swap out the 6L6 power tubes for EL34s. This amplifier features 3 highly customizable channels. You've got your lead, crunch, and clean controls. Going across the front of the amplifier, you've got your standard power and standby. Your global master controls are going to be on the left, featuring level, presence, and a solo boost. On the level, you've got loop A and B, and a power amp mute. The presence is going to have your different selections for lead, crunch, and clean, and your solo boost is going to control the boost and the gain off level. Your lead channel's got 3 different voicings, 1, 2, and 3. Your gain, level, and reverb, which is selectable on the back. You've got an active tone selection, treble, a dual concentric mid-frequency pot, and then your bass control. Your crunch and clean channels are going to feature 3 voicings of their own, gain, level, reverb, selectable on its own on the back as well. Your active tone, treble, middle, and bass. No dual concentric pot for the mid on the crunch and clean. You've got a high input and a low input. Now, going across the back of the amplifier, you've got your impedance selection for 8 or 16 with your speaker outputs 1 and 2. Above that, you've got a power amp selection for 100 watt or 50 watt. You have an individual slave out level. You have an emulated line out with selectable on axis, off axis, or direct. 2 different effects loops featuring A and B with their own send and returns, your foot switch inputs, and then the 3 types of reverb. You've got plate, spring, and hall. If you want to have 3 different reverbs on 3 different channels, you can absolutely do that. And then you can assign each loop to each channel as well. Alright, so what do you think? I think this is a great amplifier. It's highly customizable. I like the different voicing options, the active options, and I just like that with all that on other amplifiers that would normally be like a master control. You pick the voice or active. You select everything individually per channel, and I think that is fantastic. In my opinion, this is a very versatile amplifier. I really wish that Bolt would have been able to pull through that tough economy and be able to put out more things, because with this being the only amplifier they did, I think it's really damn cool. You're probably not going to go out and go searching for one of these. There's one that's been on Reverb in Illinois for like 9 months. I think it's a local pickup only, but it also doesn't look like it's in amazing shape. But last week I saw one on Guitar Center and it's already gone. It's a combo amp. So they do pop up from time to time. I don't know how many were made and how many are out there. Like I said, I doubt you're going to go hunt one of these down. But if you do ever come across the chance to plug into one and try it, I would highly recommend it. I've had a lot of fun playing with this amp over the last week. I did have an opportunity to buy one of these last year, but I ended up in a very shady part of downtown Salt Lake City, out of like a storage unit. A guy was selling some stuff, but he couldn't answer any questions on this amplifier for me. And in the photos, he actually had the power and standby on, and it clearly was not plugged into anything. So if you are familiar with tube amps, what happens when you don't connect to a load? You fry your tube amp. So I didn't have a way to know if the amplifier that I was viewing last year that had a gold faceplate even worked. All the guy could tell me is it works, and he knows it sounds good, even though he had a Bolt 2x12 that had no speakers in it. I don't believe that guy ever plugged it in. I don't even know where he got it from. So I ended up passing on that. So again, I'm really grateful this one came along. Now I need to give a shout out to Neil. He is a friend at work that helped me track this down. His dad worked for XP Audio and knew Ronnie, who had this amplifier, and they were kind enough to let someone they've never met borrow it. I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to try this amplifier over 10 years later. So thank you guys very much for making this happen. I've always wanted to try one of these. Now, if you are a Quad Cortex user, I will have captures of this out soon, so you will at least be able to try it in that form if you so desire. And if any of you are shopping for any gear around and you shop at Z-Sounds, I do have an affiliate link down below. If you use that before you purchase anything, that helps give me a commission to keep making poor gear decisions to bring to this channel. But I really do appreciate all of you taking the time to check out this video on an amplifier that most of you have probably never heard of. I do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.